right, shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, Ba'ashem, Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rachak, Wadash. Double honors to the apostles and others, the great millstone. Peace and salutations to the elect. It's the brother Inah from the GMS Dallas camp. And, the premise, matter of fact, brother, you're the cameraman, but remind me again, what's the exact premise for this lesson?
The premise is tips from the Lord's men, right? So, for those who are new starting this walk, you're learning this information. These are tips from men who've experienced certain things, who've been in rooms and went through particular adversities that we're all gonna go through. And these are tips for those who aren't able to be a part of big congregations or around brothers. These are tips to get you through, because you're gonna experience things and catch hell and be tested like we're all tested.
Okay, Khan. So perfect example. There's camps that may not be as large as a Dallas camp. There's camps that may have 2 or 3 or 4 brothers. Just a handful of brothers. That means that it's even more important to fellowship one amongst another. And when we say fellowship, it means sometimes you may just have a one-on-one conversation with a brother, but also multiple brothers may get together and you may just be around each other. Because if you think about it, what was Yahushua doing with the disciples when he was on the scene? They were with him the whole time. There wasn't just one day where they got together. They were with him the whole time. So I'm gonna go ahead and get some scriptures real quick. This is Matthew chapter 18 and verse 1. At the same time came the disciples unto Yahushua, saying, Who is the greatest in the kingdom of heaven? And Yahushua called a little child unto him and set him in the midst of them. So the mindset of the disciples during Yahushua's ministry, when you look at it, it was really pretty rudimentary. Like, it reminds you of the mindset that you have when you first come into the truth. The first 3 years, because he was only on the scene for 3 years before we're talking about Yahushua's ministry. He was on the scene for 3 years doing the ministry until he was crucified. So they were still learning. That's why they were called the disciples, and then they became apostles when Yahushua was crucified and he was resurrected, and he revealed gave the comforter to them. But up until that time, they still had a lot of simple questions, right? Like, who's the greatest among them? As if that has anything to do with salvation. See, we're all about edification at GMS, so all the videos we do is for the point of edification. So Yahushua, he didn't answer and said, because the answer, you could have said Peter, Peter was the he was the rock, the foundation of the church. Yahushua told him that. But what he did instead was use that as a teaching point to say, whoever is the most like this child, which we're about to read, they are the greatest. This is Matthew chapter 18, verse 3. It says, and I'll read verse 2 again. And Yahushua called a little child unto him and said in the midst of them, and said, Verily I say unto you, except ye be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. Whosoever therefore shall humble himself as his little child, the same is greatest in the kingdom of heaven. And so that's always important to remember, because there's going to be new brothers that come into the camp over time, and we have to remember that they're the sheep of Yahushua. If they truly believe in this word, they're gonna be faithful. We got to make sure that we're treating those brothers, like we would treat Yahushua, right? Continuing on, it says in verse 5, and whoso shall receive one such little child in my name receiveth me. You see that? So we should really be looking at the brothers, older or younger, like we know they're believers in Yahushua, but we got to really make sure that we really believe that and we act on that, and that should cause us to desire to fellowship with the brothers, man. You know what I mean? So, like I said in the beginning of the video, you may have some camps that may have less brothers. Does that mean that those are the only brothers you can fellowship with? No, you can always, talk to a brother, you know what I mean, that may not be in your immediate camp. If you let's say you only have 3 or 4 brothers in the camp, let's say y'all might travel to another camp, and fellowship with those brothers. And that's what basically that's what Paul did during his ministry. He would go out and preach the gospel, right? So we're living in the time of Acts. So that's what we should be, that's also beneficial. That's a good point to edification. It says, verse 6, but whoso shall offend one of these little ones which believeth in me, it were better for him that a millstone were hanged round about his neck, and that he were drowned in the sea. So we already know, like, the punishment of treating the Lord's little ones like nothing, acting as if you're greater than. I'll drop down to verse 10. It says, take heed that you despise not one of these little ones, for I say unto you that in heaven their angels do always behold the face of my Father which is in heaven. So we got to remember, when we amongst brothers, when we at camp, when we before camp, after camp, all of us have angels watching us, man. And so those angels, what is angel in the Hebrew? Mala'ak, which is messenger. Okay, so they're basically the messengers between the physical realm and the Most High, sending those messages up, okay, and bringing messages down as well. I'm gonna go ahead. I know it's supposed to be a quick hit, so I'll just go straight to 1 John, and this will be the last precept I get. 1 John chapter 1 and verse 9. It says, he that saith he is in the light and hateth his brother is in darkness even until now. So we may have family members that we may not have gotten along with when we were younger, but really, what did Yahushua say? He said that whoever doeth the will of my Father which is in heaven, the same as my brother and my mother and my sister. So really, the ones that believe in Yahweh B'Shem Yahushua, that's doing this work, those are closer to us than our actual siblings, if we may have them. Like the scripture says, there's a friend that sticketh closer than a brother. So the body is an example of that. In verse 10 it says, he that loveth his brother abideth in the light, and there is none occasion of stumbling in him. But he that hateth his brother is in darkness, and walketh in darkness, and knoweth not whither he goeth, because that darkness has blinded his eyes. And we've seen examples of individuals that have fallen to to strife and contention, and they may have had a disagreement with a brother that festered, and that demon turned into something that eventually it led them out of the truth. And we don't want to be a part of that. We don't want to be reprobates, right? So we got to constantly examine ourselves, making sure that we address any fault, any ought that we have one with another, because at the end of the day, we're seeking out our own salvation. We know that we can't save one brother or another brother or even ourselves, but what we can control is how we react to certain situations. So let's make sure that we continue in brotherly love. Lord willing, this is edifying. With that, I want to give all praises, honor, and glory to Yahweh, B'Shem Yahushai, B'Shem Rakakwadash. Double honors to the apostles and elders, the great millstone. Peace and salutations to the elect. Shalom.